You wake up every day, open your eyes, and immediately check your bank account, your job status, your bills, your goals. You look outward, hoping to see something change, but have you ever asked yourself, why isn't it changing? You think the answer is in the economy, in the government, in your boss, your upbringing, your degree, or your lack of one. But here's the raw truth. The world isn't a wallet. It's a mirror. It doesn't hold your money. It reflects your mindset. It reflects your core beliefs, not your hard work. Yes, you work long hours. Yes, you give your best. But if your mind is full of scarcity, unworthiness, and fear, guess what? That's what shows up in your life. Your bank account is not malfunctioning. Your mindset is out of sync. Let's make this brutally clear. The world doesn't respond to effort alone. It responds to energy. If you're grinding day and night but internally repeating, I'm not good enough, I'll never make enough, I'm always struggling, then the mirror has no choice. It reflects that back to you again and again. Why? Because you have told it to. You think success comes from the outside in. No, it comes from the inside out. You're trying to fix the mirror by adjusting the reflection. That's like seeing your hair out of place in the glass and trying to comb the glass instead of your own head. Does that make sense? Yet that's what most people do with money. They say, I need a raise, I need a second job, I need better clients. But what you really need is to ask, what beliefs am I holding that are keeping me broke? Are you ready to be honest with yourself? Are you brave enough to admit that maybe, just maybe, it's not the outside world that's the problem? It's the script playing inside your head. Let's break it down even further. Your beliefs are like magnets. Each thought you think sends a signal to the universe. This is what I expect, not what you hope for, not what you pray for once a week, not what you post about on social media, but what you subconsciously expect every single day. If your belief says, I can't get ahead, life says, you're right. If your belief says, money always escapes me, life says, granted. If your belief says, I was born to struggle, life echoes back, so be it. The world doesn't argue, it doesn't judge, it just reflects. It gives you not what you wish, but what you believe. That's the law. So what do you believe? No, not what you say you believe, not what's written on your vision board. What's etched into the walls of your subconscious, because that's what's shaping your life. Here's the paradox. You might think you're ambitious, spiritual, positive, but if deep down you still carry guilt around money, or shame from your past, or fear of success, then those internal scripts are running the show, and guess what? The mirror reflects them, not your conscious desires. The mirror of life doesn't care about your resolutions. It reacts to your vibration. It's not listening to your words. It's tuned into your frequency. You can't trick the mirror. You can't fake wealth vibes while thinking poor thoughts. You can't affirm prosperity while vibrating desperation. The mirror doesn't lie, and yet, this is the secret they never taught you. They told you to work harder, but not think differently. They told you to get a degree, but not upgrade your belief system. They taught you economics, but never taught you energetics. And so now, you think the problem is out there, in the market, in the system, in the algorithm, but no, it's in the mirror, and the mirror is always telling the truth. Let me ask you this, what if the only thing you had to do to transform your finances was to transform your inner conversation? What if the real poverty was never in your pocket, but in your perception? You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. If you believe you're lacking, unworthy, or always one step behind, you become a match for circumstances that confirm it. And then you say, see, I told you so. Yes, but it was you who told the mirror first. You're not cursed, you're not unlucky, you're not late, you're just looking at the wrong source of power. You think money is power, but your belief is the true powerhouse. You think wealth is in the system, but the system obeys your inner system. It's time to clean the mirror, not by scrubbing the glass, but by adjusting the reflection. You don't need to work 10 times harder. You need to think 10 times higher. You don't need another job. You need a new identity. You don't need permission. You need alignment. Because the moment your inner self begins to say, I am aligned with abundance, I am worthy of overflow, money is a mirror, and I now reflect prosperity. That's the moment the reflection starts to change. You can't fake it, you can't skip it, and you sure as day can't avoid it. The world is listening to your vibration and replying through results. What message are you sending? What reflection are you creating? Don't fight the mirror, fix the image. Don't fear the reflection, redesign the source. Don't beg for money, claim alignment. Because once you truly get it, once you truly understand that this entire experience is a projection of your belief, then you'll stop chasing wealth in the world and start creating wealth in the mind. And from there, the mirror will do its job. It will reflect the truth, and that truth will finally be rich. Words are not just sounds, they are commands. Every sentence you speak is a transaction with the invisible forces of life. Every phrase is a purchase order you submit to the universe. And the most dangerous part, most people are spending their words like junk change without realizing the enormous price they're paying for them. You keep saying, I'm broke, and wonder why your pockets echo. You keep repeating, I can't afford that, and wonder why doors stay closed. You constantly declare, I never have enough, and wonder why enough never shows up. Listen carefully. You are not just describing your life with your words. You are directing it. You are not simply expressing a feeling. You are activating a frequency. Your words are vibrations, and every vibration returns to you as form, people, situations, and outcomes. So what kind of check are you writing today with your tongue? Is it one of abundance or anxiety? Is it one of overflow or overdrawn accounts? The universe is not judging your words, it's obeying them. This is the truth they never taught you. They told you to watch your spending, but not your speaking. They told you to track your budget, but not your beliefs, and now you're overdrawing your spiritual bank account with phrases like, nothing ever works out for me, money comes and goes. I always get the short end of the stick. Do you hear the weight of those words? They sound casual, but they're contracts with reality. They sound innocent, but they're instructions to the mirror of life. Let's call it out. You have been cursing your finances while hoping for a blessing. You have been affirming lack in every conversation, then wondering why wealth stays away. You don't need another motivational quote. You need a verbal awakening. You must understand this. Your subconscious is always listening. It doesn't have a sense of humor. It doesn't know the difference between a joke and a decree. So when you say things like, I'm dead broke, or I can't catch a break, or I'll never get rich unless I win the lottery, your inner system takes it as fact and adjusts your reality to match. Why do you think the wealthiest people speak differently? Why do they say, I'm creating new income streams, instead of I need a miracle? Why do they say, money flows to me through expected and unexpected channels, instead of I hope this job keeps me? Because they know the power of speech. They know that language creates experience. They know that your mouth is a magnet, and what you declare, you invite. Let's talk energy. Every word carries a charge. Some words uplift, others degrade. Some words open gates, others build walls. When you say, I'm not worthy, you energetically repel the opportunities meant for you. When you say, I always mess up, you activate the same chaos again. Why? Because your words are self-fulfilling scripts. This isn't superstition, it's spiritual law. Here's the real kicker. Even when you're just venting, you're planting seeds. Even when you're just being real, you're still spelling out a reality. The words you speak today become the circumstances you meet tomorrow. So what if you reversed it? What if, instead of repeating limitations, you declared liberation? What if, instead of saying, I'm tired of being broke, you said, I am aligned with wealth and money is catching up to me fast? What if, instead of complaining, you prophesied? What if, instead of gossiping about how hard life is, you whispered declarations of ease and overflow? Words are not only currency, They are creative force. In the beginning was the Word. And still, in your life, the Word is what begins it all. The tongue is the pen of your life story. What chapter are you writing today? What scene are you scripting with your language? There are people walking in riches right now, not because they were born lucky, but because they trained their mouth to obey their vision instead of their current condition. They refused to let the numbers in the bank write their dialogue. They spoke from belief, not from balance sheets. And you have that same power. You can speak your way into overflow. You can speak your way into peace. You can speak your way into financial freedom, but you can't do it while entertaining broken language. You can't affirm wealth for 10 minutes in the morning and then cancel it with careless words all day long. Imagine going to a restaurant, placing your order with the waiter, and then 5 minutes later yelling, "Cancel that. I don't even deserve food." That's what you're doing to the universe with your words. You ask for abundance in your prayers, but then cancel the order with your doubts, your jokes, your complaints. Your mouth is the vehicle. Your belief is the engine. Your words are the destination. So where are you driving yourself? Let me ask you something deep. Would you be wealthy today if every word you spoke last month had become true? Would you be overflowing right now if every phrase became a prophecy? If not, why are you still speaking the same way? You say, "I'm just being realistic." No, you're being resigned. You say, "It's just how I talk." Then change how you talk, because how you talk is how you manifest. Every time you say, "I receive unexpected income," you're painting a new doorway. Every time you say, "I am worthy of overflow," you're unlocking a spiritual bank vault. Every time you say, "Wealth is my natural state," you are sending vibrations that shake the very fabric of your reality. Stop spending your words on fear, on doubt, on replaying old wounds. Start investing your words in the future you want to create. Because once you get this, once you truly understand that your words are currency, you'll never waste them on anything that doesn't serve your destiny again. Fear doesn't kick down the door. It tiptoes in quietly, while you're scrolling late at night, while you're calculating bills, while you're lying in bed replaying everything that's gone wrong. It sneaks in through thoughts that seem innocent. What if I can't pay rent this month? What if the money doesn't come? What if I'm not good enough? And just like that, your peace is gone, your faith is frozen, your future feels impossible. Fear is the invisible thief. It doesn't take your money, it takes your mindset. It steals the very vibration that attracts wealth, success, and ease, and you let it. Every single time you say, "I'm scared things won't work out," you open the door to the thief. Every time you say, "This is too risky," or "I'm afraid I'll fail," you hand fear the key to your destiny. You think fear is protecting you, but it's paralyzing you. You were not designed to worship fear. You were not born to serve survival mode. You were created to create, to build, to manifest, to expand, to become. But how can you do that if fear is whispering in your ear every time you try? It whispers, "Don't start that business." It says, "You'll look stupid." It warns, "People will judge you." It hisses, "You'll lose everything." And you listen. You believe it. You obey it like it's some higher power. Fear is not wisdom. Fear is not truth. Fear is an illusion dressed in logic. It pretends to be caution, but it's really control. It sounds like responsibility, but it's really repression. It feels real, but it's only real because you gave it power with your belief. Let's be clear. Fear doesn't stop bad things from happening. It only stops good things from manifesting. It blocks miracles. It repels money, it delays breakthroughs, it builds imaginary walls between you and the exact opportunities you're praying for. You're wondering why you're stuck, why you're broke, why you can't get ahead. And the truth is, it's not your lack of talent. It's not your background. It's not even your circumstances. It's the thief you keep entertaining every night. Fear. Fear doesn't just come to scare you. It comes to rob you. It robs your clarity, your courage, your momentum. It convinces you that you're not ready, not capable, not worthy. and you delay your dreams again and again and again until one day you wake up and realize fear didn't protect you, it paralyzed you. It's the dream killer, the silence behind every missed opportunity, the ghost behind every what if and I could have, and the worst part, it never even had power, except the power you gave it. What if you stopped feeding it? What if just once you looked fear in the eye and said, "You don't get to lead me anymore"? What if you refused to rehearse failure and started rehearsing faith? You don't need more information, you need transformation. You need to reprogram the system that keeps prioritizing safety over success. Because guess what? The path to abundance is always guarded by fear. You'll feel the fear before the breakthrough. You'll feel the fear before the shift. You'll feel the fear before the financial overflow, and if you bow to it, you miss it. Fear shows up right before your next level. It's the signal that something big is near, but instead of recognizing that, you run. You shrink, you second, guess yourself. You say, "Now's not the right time," as if fear knows the timing better than your spirit. When will you stop giving fear the mic? When will you stop giving it the final word? Every time you let fear speak louder than your vision, you give it permission to delay your destiny. Every time you let it vote on your decisions, you allow it to sabotage the very thing you've been working for. Isn't that exhausting? Isn't that maddening? How many ideas have you buried because of fear? How many dreams are still stuck in your heart because fear said, "Wait until you're ready"? Guess what? You'll never feel ready. Because fear will always give you another excuse, another warning, another reason to stay small. But faith says, move anyway. Faith says, leap, even if you don't see the net. Faith says, if you're aligned, you're protected. And isn't that what you truly want? To move through life knowing that you are backed by a power greater than fear. Because here's the secret. Fear is the voice of the world. Faith is the voice of your soul. Which one are you listening to? When you wake up in the morning, fear says you're behind. Faith says you're right on time. When you look at your bank account, fear says you're doomed. Faith says this is temporary. Abundance is catching up. When you dare to dream big, fear says don't bother. Faith says let's go. I've got your back. Fear will always be in the room, but it doesn't get a seat at the table. It doesn't get to decide your next move. You can feel it, acknowledge it, and still move in the direction of your vision. And that's what separates those who manifest wealth from those who chase it. The wealthy, they feel fear, but don't obey it. They hear the doubt, but don't give it power. They walk through the door anyway, and discover everything they were afraid of was just a shadow. Fear thrives in hesitation, but it dies in decision. So make a decision today. That fear is no longer your guide, that the thief has no place in your home, that your dreams are too important to be postponed by invisible lies, because once you stop giving fear your future, you start reclaiming your power. And that's when life starts to change. They never told you this, but wealth doesn't begin in your hands. It begins in your heart. It's not about numbers, degrees, or connections. It's about faith, not blind hope. Not desperate wishing, but deep, unshakable, unwavering faith that what you desire is already yours in the unseen, and that it's making its way to you right now. Faith is the currency of the rich, always has been. And the reason most people stay broke isn't because they lack effort or opportunity. It's because they lack alignment with the invisible laws that govern wealth. They've got the strategy, the grind, the hustle, but no faith. Then they wonder why things keep falling apart, why deals vanish at the last minute, why bills show up faster than money ever does. You can't outwork a lack of faith. You can't build a fortune on fear, doubt, and spiritual instability. You can build a business, but if you don't believe you deserve to receive, it'll collapse. You can get a raise, but if your subconscious still believes you're not worthy, you'll find a way to lose it, spend it, or block it. Because faith is the foundation. Without it, money is like sand. It slips right through your fingers. With it, wealth sticks to you like magnetized gold. Let's be brutally honest. How many times have you prayed for abundance, but secretly doubted it would happen for you? How many times have you said, I know things will get better, but in your next breath thought, what if they don't? That's not faith. That's spiritual hesitation. And hesitation is a repellent to blessings. Faith isn't just a feel, good concept. It's a force. It moves mountains. It opens doors that no man can shut. It's the invisible energy that turns unseen possibilities into visible results. But faith doesn't work halfway. It doesn't respond to wishy-washy affirmations or rehearsed positivity. It responds to conviction, to the soul, deep decision that says, I don't care what it looks like, I know what I carry. It responds to the inner knowing that says, my vision is real, my supply is guaranteed, and my success is inevitable. This is how the wealthy move. They don't walk into a room wondering if they'll be chosen. They walk in already chosen in their spirit. They don't negotiate with fear. They don't beg for crumbs. They stand on the substance of faith, and substance always becomes form. Faith is more than belief. It's embodiment. You walk like it, talk like it, dress like it. You behave as if the thing is already done, because in the spiritual realm it is done. Faith simply pulls it into view. And here's the secret they didn't teach you. You don't attract money because you need it. You attract money because you've already matched it in your frequency. Neediness repels. It screams lack. But faith magnetizes. Faith says, I already have it. I'm just catching up to the delivery. So many people are walking around affirming abundance, but leaking fear. They say the words, but they don't believe the vibration. They post the quotes, but cancel it with doubt before bed. That's not how faith works. Faith is the inner currency that says, I'm wealthy even when I don't see a dollar today. I'm rising even while I'm in the valley. I'm chosen even when I feel ignored. I'm rich, not just in bank accounts, but in mindset, in vision, in spiritual truth. Why do some people bounce back after failure while others never recover? Why do some rise from nothing and become icons while others stay stuck in generational patterns? It's not talent. It's not even education. It's faith, the unseen ingredient that turns struggle into storylines and pain into platforms. When faith becomes your default setting, miracles become your normal. You stop trying to convince the world, and you start commanding it. You don't need to beg for breakthroughs. You begin expecting them, and that expectation is what shifts reality. That vibration is what unlocks overflow. Let me ask you, have you really been operating in faith, or have you been walking in fear dressed up as caution? Have you truly been trusting the process, or have you been doubting every step and hoping luck bails you out? Faith doesn't flinch when the numbers look scary. Faith doesn't panic when the client ghosted you. Faith doesn't break down when the bank balance is low, because faith knows the difference between facts and truth. The fact might be that money is tight, but the truth is that provision is limitless. The fact might be that you've failed before, but the truth is that grace restores and multiplies. The fact might be that you're waiting, but the truth is that delay is not denial when faith is involved. Faith turns your energy from chasing to attracting, from panic to peace, from survival mode to overflow mode. It shifts your posture from begging life to bless you, to believing you were already blessed before you were even born. You don't need to ask for abundance. It's already yours. But it takes faith to cash the check, and that check doesn't bounce, unless your belief does. If you understood just how powerful your faith could be, you would never again worry about how. You would never again beg people to help you. You would never again shrink your dreams to match your circumstances. Instead, you would start speaking like it's already done. You would start acting like the answer is on the way. You would stop auditioning for blessings and start commanding your inheritance, because the moment you fully lock into faith, life has no choice but to follow. It rearranges itself to match your conviction. It rewrites stories. It redirects people. It reopens closed doors. That's what faith does. Faith is not an accessory. It's not optional. It's the invisible currency that unlocks visible wealth. When you get that, truly get it, You stop asking, when will it happen? And you start saying, it's already mine. I'm just walking it out. Everything you experience in life is a direct reflection of what you've been obeying. Not what you say you want, but what you've been consistently obeying in your thoughts, emotions, and choices. This is the secret that almost no one talks about. What you obey, you invite. It's not random. It's not luck. It's not punishment. It's alignment. If you obey fear, you invite limitation. If you obey scarcity, you invite lack. If you obey anxiety, you invite confusion. And yet most people go through life following their emotions like a lost child follows a stranger, without ever realizing that every thought you bow to is a signal you send into the universe, a cosmic invitation. You say you want wealth, but do you obey abundance or do you obey worry? You say you want peace, but do you obey faith or do you obey panic? You say you want change, but are you obeying courage or your old comfort zone? Let's be real. Obedience isn't just action, it's attention. What you give your time, energy, and focus to, that's what you're obeying. And what you obey, you energetically welcome. You may not realize it, but every single day, you're following something. Some voice, some belief, some pattern, and that voice, it's leading you somewhere. Where is it taking you? If you wake up every morning obeying the voice of I'm not enough, guess what? You've just invited a whole day full of situations to prove you right. If you go to sleep obeying the thought, I'll never catch up, you've sent a vibrational order into the universe that delays your break through another day. You don't mean to do it, but you're doing it anyway. Obedience is agreement. You're saying, yes, I'll believe that. Yes, I'll react to that. Yes, I'll act like that's true. And once you agree, it becomes real in your world. You obey your beliefs through repetition. You obey them through what you expect, and the universe, always fair, always precise, responds not to your words but to your obedience. This is why you can speak abundance but still experience struggle. Because while your mouth says, I'm ready, your energy says, I'm still loyal to fear. Your vision says, overflow, but your nervous system says, survival only, please. And the universe listens to your deepest obedience, not your surface-level wishes. You can't obey two masters. You can't serve vision and fear at the same time. You can't follow intuition and doubt in the same breath. You've got to choose who gets your attention, who gets your energy, who gets your agreement. Because the law is absolute, what you obey, you invite. What you bow to, you embody. What you tolerate, you recreate. Every single time, you obey by default when you don't consciously take control. You obey the past when you keep referencing old stories. You obey trauma when you keep rehearsing old pain. You obey shame when you shrink your light just to be accepted. And that obedience creates patterns. Patterns become habits. Habits become results. Results become your reality. And then you look around and wonder, why does life always look like this? Because you've been obeying the same inner tyrant for years. But what if you broke that cycle? What if you decided today to obey truth instead of trauma? What if you woke up and said, I no longer obey fear. I now obey faith. I no longer obey lack. I now obey divine supply. I no longer obey stress. I now obey peace. How quickly would your life begin to reflect that? When you obey love, you invite healing. When you obey clarity, you invite solutions. When you obey courage, you invite doors to open. When you obey abundance, you invite overflow. It's not magic, it's alignment. You don't have to scream it, post it, or prove it. Your vibration will do all the talking. Your energetic obedience will echo into the field and draw in everything that agrees with it, the people, the resources. The timing, the ideas, they'll come, not because you chased them, but because you invited them by what you chose to serve internally. And serving something doesn't always look obvious. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes, serving lack looks like constantly checking your bank account in fear. Sometimes, serving self-doubt looks like over-apologizing, over-explaining, hiding your power. Sometimes, serving fear looks like saying no. to new opportunities because they stretch you out of your comfort zone. You think you're being responsible, but you're just obeying the wrong master, and every time you obey the wrong master, you delay your divine inheritance. So let me ask you, what have you been following? What have you been reacting to, submitting to, surrendering to? Whose voice plays the loudest in your mind, the voice of your future or the echo of your fear? Because until you obey the vision more than the fear, you will keep inviting cycles you were meant to break. You will keep reliving patterns that no longer belong to you. You will keep attracting people, situations, and energies that fit your former obedience. But the moment you switch allegiance, everything shifts. You start walking like the person you're becoming, not the one you've outgrown. You stop defending your wounds and start declaring your worth. You stop reacting to every fearful thought and start responding from your inner truth. That's when doors start opening. That's when unexpected checks show up. That's when divine connections appear out of nowhere. Why? Because you changed who you serve internally, and the universe responded accordingly. So from now on, be careful what you obey, because obedience is not passive, it's powerful. It's not accidental, it's creative. Every thought, every feeling, every decision is a vote, and the one you vote for becomes the one who leads. Choose wisely, because what you obey, you invite. You're not broke, you're blocked. Let that sink in. You're not unlucky, cursed, or forgotten. The river of abundance is still flowing, still generous, still overflowing with provision, but something inside you is damming it up. And you've been calling that dam reality. But what if your reality is just a reflection of your energetic resistance? You see the symptoms, the overdraft fees, the unpaid bills, the stress over rent, the scraping by month after month, but none of those are the cause. They're shadows, echoes, results, the real issue. There's a belief in you, a story in you, a wound in you, that is blocking the natural flow of wealth from reaching you. Money doesn't hate you. God didn't forget you. The universe isn't punishing you. Your supply has never been cut off, it's just being redirected around your resistance. That's why you work so hard, but get so little in return. That's why opportunities slip through your fingers. That's why blessings get delayed or arrive just short of what you needed. You keep saying, I'm broke, but you're not. Your divine account is fully funded. Your harvest is ready. Your breakthrough is waiting for your permission, not your perfection. So what's blocking it? Fear, shame, old vows, childhood programs that whispered money is hard to get, rich people are greedy, or I don't deserve that much. You heard it once and then let it leave rent, free in your subconscious mind, and now it's acting like the gatekeeper to your abundance. You pray for money, but secretly feel guilty about having more than others. That's a block. You want success, but feel like you have to hustle 24/7 to earn what's already spiritually yours. That's a block. You visualize wealth, but deep down believe it'll change you into someone you won't like. That's a block. Your beliefs are not passive, they're magnetic. They're either pulling wealth toward you or pushing it away. So the question is, what have you been blocking with your own energy? And let's go deeper. You say you're ready to receive, but are you emotionally ready to hold it? Because the universe won't give you what your nervous system sees as unsafe. You might be saying, I want overflow. But your body is screaming, I don't know what to do with that much. What if I lose it? What if they judge me? What if I mess it up? And so, out of protection, not punishment, the flow pauses. Not because you don't deserve it, but because you've convinced yourself you couldn't handle it. And here's the truth that flips the whole game. You don't fix the block by working harder. You fix the block by healing deeper. You stop fighting the symptoms and finally face the source. The source is always a belief you agreed to, a lie you adopted, a voice you obeyed. You're not broke, you're blocked by the story you haven't questioned. And until you rewrite that story, you'll relive it. You'll keep attracting situations that reflect your inner ceiling. Not because the universe is cruel, but because the law is precise. It mirrors your vibration, not your intentions. And here's where things get powerful. Your breakthrough doesn't come when you make more money. It comes when you finally remove the block that's been telling you you can't. when you cancel the contract with struggle, when you renounce the agreement with barely enough, when you break up with the belief that says, "Who am I to live in overflow? Who are you not to?" You are the child of infinite supply. You are the spark of divine intelligence. You are the heir of sacred abundance, and yet you've been living like a spiritual orphan, begging for breadcrumbs from a table you were meant to sit at. You're not broke. You've just been obeying the wrong master, the master of fear, the master of unworthiness, the master of limitation. And every time you obey that energy, you build a thicker wall between you and the wealth that's already assigned to you. So, what do? You don't chase money, you chase alignment. You don't obsess over numbers, you observe your inner dialogue. You don't force manifestation, you free yourself from the thoughts that blocked it in the first place. Start declaring, "I am no longer available for lack. I now allow money to love me. I break every subconscious vow of poverty I ever made, known or unknown." Say it with power. Say it until the walls start shaking inside you. Say it until the old blocks begin to crack, because the shift doesn't start in your wall. It starts in your mind. Your beliefs open the gate. Your expectations hold it open. Your energy walks through. And your actions follow like soldiers behind the general. You don't need more proof, you need more permission. Permission to receive, permission to rest, permission to prosper without guilt, without apology, without fear. You're not behind, you're not late, you're not broken, you're just blocked. And the moment you clear the block, the money arrives, the opportunities align, the favor flows, and you finally realize it was never about chasing wealth. It was always about becoming someone who no longer resists it.